How y'all doing today? It's the Time Is Now podcast, episode 4. We got Willie Clifton, Richard Moore Jones. Today we talking about the power of perspective. The power of perspective. So how you see things might not be how I see things. How Mr. Willie see things might not be how you see things, or how I see things, or how anybody else see things. From our bird's eye view, our eyeballs and our brain, our spirit we got in us, we see things in different ways. Okay, how you doing today, Mr. Willie?
I'm wonderful. I am ready for this today. I was going to get into it, bring up some questions that, how different people, you think about the amount of people that's in the world, and everybody got a different perspective about stuff, so it put it into this worldwide whole lot of things that's going on out there. But we do know stupid is stupid. When we see some stupid things happen, I think we can all see that, man, that don't make sense. And I think we look for people even to see how life is right now. And I try to view it now, try to share it, and I try to take it from my perspective, knowing that I know what God has done for me. I know we have to live in this world together. So from my perspective, it's to share it, not to feel like
we ain't got no choice but to share the world.
Yeah. Well, some people feel like, well, I'm better than you. That's from my perspective.
God blew a breath in Adam, and now we all breathing.
Thank you.
They don't look at it like that.
Thank you. They don't look at it like that. So yeah, I feel good about today from that perspective. Being able to come and try to shine some light on some things that I think that we have said, and I know we're not saying that we're perfect, but we look at these things and we think about them, and we make sure that we are able to make sound decisions when we do it right. So yeah, that's from my perspective.
I got you. When I see the power of perspective, I think about a little short sports car. Then you got a lifted truck. If you sitting here looking at something from a short sports car view, you're gonna only see a certain amount and up. But when you're in that lifted truck, you can see lower and up. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
but you still might not be able to see what's up there. So, just from that right there, it's a different perspective that both of them vehicles have when you're sitting in them.
Yeah.
Okay? So everybody got their own perspective. We just gotta respect one another and understand that we all don't got the same thinking.
There you go.
Okay? So two people can experience the same situation but respond completely different. Your perspective can change everything. Okay? So if somebody going through something and they might look at it as, man, I'm tired of this, I'm ready to check myself out, then the other person go through it, they smiling like, yeah, I ain't worried about that. Come on, make me go through it again. I'm gonna show you how to get through it again, So that's two different perspectives. What you got to say about that?
Well, that's true, and I agree on that, which that's been typical throughout life. Sometimes people argue. Well, no, this is the way I see it. This is the way it should go.
Come on now.
Depending on where and what you're doing. Now, if like I was talking, looking at running some stuff down today with guys that we were doing some work. I looked at that and said, okay, we have to do it this way. Okay, because when you start. Take 4 or 5 people on the same project, and one say this, one say that. And sometimes it's like I look at it sometimes on one job, if it's not real big, you don't need a lot of people because too many opinions.
100%.
Too many perspectives.
Yeah. You gotta pay too many people.
Right, you gotta pay too many people. But then you look at it to say, you know what? I think we rather than say you do your opinion, my opinion. Man, you done took 30 minutes of everybody trying to say this and that and third.
Come on now.
But sometimes you go in and get a job done, you say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
100%.
I'm not gonna listen to what you tell me.
No, but see, and sometimes you gotta go through with the other person just to see how it goes, just to see did it work. Because a lot of times you won't know if something worked until you did.
Absolutely.
You know, that's like when we be working. A lot of time I'll be asking Vontae, what you think? You know, I don't try to just run everything out. I literally be like, what you think? If he say yeah, he say yeah. Sometimes he say no. I be like, man, bro. And I don't argue with it. I don't think twice. Yeah. I trust his opinion. You know, I trust his perspective.
You're
so that's the route we go.
Right.
And most of the time it go good. You know what I'm saying? So.
And then that's what the day when I was talking about that. Well, it was some guys. It was two guys that normally don't work with us, and they were there. And sometimes, you know, when you have too many people on one job, it's too many decisions.
Definitely. That's why you got the person that running, then you got the person that's under him, and then you got everybody else that's doing their part. You know, everybody got to do their part when it's a lot of people.
To make it work. Absolutely.
Yeah. You can't. That's why when they try to say, it's 50, when you do business, they try to say it's 50-50. It's never 50-50.
No, it's always gonna be. It's always gonna be. You can try to. Somebody gonna always do more in some way.
Yeah, it's gonna be by the closer it can be is 49-51. You get what I'm saying? Ain't no way it's gonna be 50-50 on the money because you can't measure everything that you do. You know,
but you got to. You know you have to put into it. You see where you need to make it work. You got to get in and make it work.
100%. I agree. Okay, so the focus scripture of the day, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything you do flows from it. Okay? So every decision that we make is all about what's coming from our heart.
Yes.
Every decision that we make, every thought, every action that we take come from our heart. So just like you were saying that person you looked up the parts and you could have did him wrong, but you asked him what he want for it after showing him the price. You could have just said, listen, I'll give you $10. And he probably would have said, all right, but you told him the real and he told you, all right. Basically, he said, I like how you being real with me. Just give me this and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
Because then he told me, he didn't tell me that at first. Then he told me, it was given to me.
Yeah, exactly. But you being real with him,
he being real with you.
Exactly, because he could have said, I paid $50 each for it. He could have got you. Okay, so above all else, guard your heart. So you got to stay away from things that you know make you think wrong. You got to stay away from those things, man. You sitting there hanging out with the same type of people that you do the thinking that you're trying to get away from or you used to do. So what you think gonna happen to you? You used to think like that. Now you're gonna hang back with them. Now you're gonna start back thinking like that. You know? That's why you got to separate yourself from those things. To guard your heart. You can't stay around people that be playing with your emotions. People that do things on purpose to intentionally get under your skin. People that do things to try to hold you back. Right. You know, you got to stay away from those type of people and those type of things to guard your heart. Okay. So point number one, what's shaping your perspective?
What do you think?
What shape your perspective is the things that you go through in life. The things that you go through, the things that you've been through, that shapes everything. Because if you don't go through nothing, you will never know how to get through something. You know, that's like they say, if you put a baby in the water, a little baby, born baby, he know how to swim. They don't say that, but they don't tell you it's because he was already in the water in his mama. You get what I'm? They don't put it like that, but that's the reason that the little baby know how to swim when they are newborn. But you keep him away from that water, he ain't gonna just know how to swim once he get a little older, because he don't remember being in that water.
True. That's true. A good point. And you know what? And I knew that, but then that put a different perspective when you made that statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really makes sense.
That's why, you know, but see what's shaping your perspective? What you've been through. He wouldn't even know how to swim in that water, but he got the perspective about water because he was in the water recently. You know, but a lot of people don't think about it like that. Okay? So when you face a situation, are you responding from past hurt, fear, or truth and wisdom?
Some of it from past situation.
So, in my opinion,
you said that too. You just said that.
Yeah, I know it go the same
You're
basically.
right. Yeah. You
So,
said that
so
earlier.
you know, we responded from all four of those.
Yes.
Because
yes.
that's what help us and mold a person. You know, the reason you respond from hurt is because you try to stay away from things that hurt you. Okay, fear is fearing things that might hurt you. Okay, so if that fire hot, you ain't gonna put your hand in it. Why? Because you've been burnt before.
Yeah. I know how that feels.
Yeah, okay. And so
Gotcha.
truth, when you learn the truth, you gonna know what the false is because you know the truth. You can't sit here and try to tell me something that's false when I already know the truth. You sitting here trying, I asked you a question and I know the answer, but then you try to tell me a different answer. Oh, okay. So wisdom. All of that, going through all of that, gives you wisdom. Huh? That's why older people got wisdom because they done been there before. They done seen it before. You know, it's like God got the most wisdom because he even said there's nothing on earth that hasn't been done that's new. Nothing on earth is new. Nothing under the sun is new.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Why can he say that?
Yeah.
Because he already got the wisdom. He done been through it. He done seen it. He done experienced it. He know all of this.
Now, you know what? I had never looked at that. But that's a deep, if you think about it.
Yeah.
People been around here for thousands of years.
Come on now.
We some fresh babies.
That's crazy.
Hey.
Thousands of years. We under 100.
Right. And we fresh.
Come on now.
So you just said he already know. So that's why you can't play with him.
Come on now.
Hey, I've been here.
He got the wisdom.
He got the wisdom.
He know your little games.
Right.
He know the little games you trying to play.
Right.
You trying to be slick.
I've seen that 500 million years ago.
Come on.
Right.
Come on now.
That would be, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like with your kid, you know, when they try to tell you a little lie, you're like, man, hold on. Hold up. Are you serious? You gonna really try to tell me this to my face? Like I haven't got told this before. Like little Max, he'll come home from school, he mad, he'll get mad, be like, oh, the teacher don't like me, you know, or something. Man, you know how many times I used that when I was a kid? Come on.
What's new?
I done heard my sister get away from in trouble from being failing. I done heard her from getting in trouble. And her first thing she say is, the teacher don't like me. And my daddy used to be like, oh, okay. Like it's like he believe it. Like, bro, if my kid tell me the teacher don't like them, I'm going up there to check. He ain't even gonna go check. He just gonna go with what she tell him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's crazy, ain't it?
It is. You know what? And looking back at that too, boy, I can't even remember some crazy stuff I come out with.
Hey, but they'll believe you, but sometimes they'll believe you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you may want to say to yourself, I don't know why y'all don't think. Well, they looking through it.
Come on, man. Of course they already know what you trying to do, man. You not slick.
No.
You
think of a low shot.
Come on, man. You think you got more wisdom than somebody that did it before?
No.
Okay. So point 2, how do you typically interpret challenges? So you know, when you speak English, you got somebody that break down the English language to Spanish. So when you go through something and you get a challenge, how do you break the challenge down and how you break it down in general? First, that's what I'm asking.
You know, everything, typically comes, that's like I said, when you wake up in the morning, life is a challenge. So you said then, everything gonna really come back and answer the question, because you said, it's gonna be a challenge by what you done experienced. So it's really nothing new unless you meet somebody new, but you know that person is still the person. So people got their own opinions on what they feel. But what's new under the sun? So you're not paying attention to, you might be paying attention to that person, but you're not paying attention to their situation, because these situations, you've been in that situation.
100%.
You've seen that, but you watching how they handle that. You watching how that particular person. You've seen somebody else do it before, but you look, hey, now I saw that done. But now I'm looking at you do it, and I don't think you handled it the way I would handle it. You know what I mean? And that's the challenge. I think that a person would look at, a person would do, and seeing things from a different perspective of another person. But we look at that, and again, I think it comes from wisdom, like you said, and seeing some stuff, and it don't always mean, and it depends on the situation and the things you're dealing with. Because sometimes we might look at a person and say, well, man, you're old school, you kind of need to change, From that perspective, depending on what you're doing, you might need to change.
100%. You might need to change.
Because if time to move and you still
stuck in the
same situation, I don't see nobody shoot marbles no more. You know what I mean?
Boy, imagine if you went somewhere that was shooting marbles. You'd be like, hold on, am I in a simulation?
Man.
What's going on here? This can't be 2026.
And I don't know even how that even stopped.
Listen, where do they sell marbles at? Where can you get some marbles?
Man,
the fish stove. You put in the fish tank.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do I interpret? So that reminds me of a situation to where me and Bunte, we had to take a woman couch. She was in an assisted living apartment. We went to go get it from her home that was a couple miles away, and we had to bring it and take it upstairs to the second floor. So this is a big old facility, right? So we get up, we trying to hurry up and get done for the day. So we bring it up in the inside. We go, the first thing you see is the elevator. We ain't even asking no questions to the woman at the front. We just trying to do it our way. We don't know nothing about this place or nothing. She tell us where it's at. We're like, okay. We pass by the first elevator. We try to put it up toward, we like, yeah, it ain't gonna fit in there. So we asked one of the workers, hey, where the stairs at? He pointed us to one of the stairs. Mind you, this place got 2 stairs. It got 2 elevators. He pointed us to the elevator, to the stairs that's close. Okay. We sit here, go all the way down there. We had to maneuver. We had to open up the exit door to be able to get up the stairs, all of this. We carried the couch up all the way up to the second floor. Listen, we get to the door. We can't even get through the door with the couch. So we sit it right there. He's still up there waiting. I said, man, I'm about to go find a way. Okay, so now I want to go ask the woman at the front. Right? Yeah. I said, ma'am, how can we? She's like, so our elevator that we usually take stuff up is down, but let me show you the other stairs that's by the elevator. So of course, I'm like, okay, I go down there, I walk up and I'm like, bruh, if we would have started here in the beginning, we wouldn't even be thinking this. So we got to pick the couch up.
Take it all the way down.
Go all the way down and go all the way on the other side of the facility. Then go all the way up the stairs again. Now, just like it asks, how do I typically interpret my challenges? My challenges was, I was looking at my perspective when I should have just asked her, what's the best way to get a couch upstairs?
Because they experienced it.
Because she would have told me. The bigger stairs is over there. But I just said, you know what? Let me just go to the closest,
Exactly.
But we had to go up and down some stairs for no reason.
Right.
So that's how I interpreted that challenge, So go ahead.
I'm just thinking of how we can make a decision, taking somebody's perspective of something, seeing and believing it. I take your opinion on it. Sometimes if it go well, it's cool. But if it don't have no blunders and stumbles in it,
you're gonna be blaming them.
You're gonna blame them, man.
Hey, but we couldn't do nothing but blame ourselves.
I
know. So a lot of things we go through, I can't look at it just from our perspective sometimes.
Yes.
Because other people done been through things. So they got more wisdom than we got. They got more information than we got.
True.
But you got to be able to discern if you want to listen to them or not. So that's a whole nother challenge in itself. So do you see them as obstacles meant to stop you or opportunities meant to grow. So just like that right there, the woman that was helping her and stuff was telling her, man, we might not be able to get it in here. And the woman was like, no, I ain't been in here before, so we can come in here some way. If I would have said, I could have easily said, yeah, it won't come in here, and we could have took it back. But I said, nah, if it been in here before, we gonna get it in here.
Thank you.
No question, we gonna get it in here. Okay, so I could have looked at that as an obstacle that's meant to stop me. But I looked at it as opportunity as next time when I come to a place like this, ask the person up front first. Tell them what we're trying to do. Because when we walked through the door with the couches, she was looking at us like, hold on, what they about to do? Because she remembering that the elevator is down. So she like, hold on. When I said, yo, we're going to go down these stairs and put it up there, she said, have at it, you know. And then she said, listen. She added at the end, I'm sorry, guys. We didn't think nothing of it, though. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But see, I could have looked at it as an opportunity to stop, but I looked at an opportunity to grow to where I got to, ask other people sometimes because I don't know everything. We don't know everything.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
So what you think about that?
I think you're right. I mean, I look at that. And it really, when you can look back at something, you can see a mistake. But there again, when you looking at that mistake, you can say, you can say, well, I'm going through this at the time. If you hadn't had no past experience, you wouldn't know how to interpret it. You just say, hey, I mean, and just go with the flow.
Yeah, try to figure it out. Yeah.
But see, if you done been down that, you're gonna say, nah, hey man, no, I know better.
Yeah.
I know better. When I know better, I do better.
Do better, 100%. You don't want to go down that same route.
No, you don't want to go down that same route.
It's like we gotta take. You think we're gonna take that same stairway? Man, we're gonna go to the one that we know we can get it up.
But you saying that, we think about. It made me think about relationships. You have seen a relationship. Say you was dating a lady, and the things that you saw in one person, and you said, "Oh, okay, I seen that before." And you be saying, and you start judging that person. You be saying, "I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm not gonna deal with you because I know where you're gonna go with this."
100%.
But do that necessarily mean that, from your perspective, you see something that's happening wrong? Is that you got to go with that way, or as you see somebody that, like I said, you previously had a relationship with, and you saw some behavior
in another person, be like, would you what's the name? Basically, you trying to see would it shape something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so
yes.
I mean, looking at it some things and so when you come to God, it's a whole different type of thinking that you have.
Right.
Okay?
Right. It
so
is,
if you are not with God, you're gonna look at a lot of things differently. You get what I'm saying? So it's certain things you would accept when you're not coming from God than you do when you is coming from God.
True.
So it's hard to say that because that's two different perspectives. But what I can say is it is a pattern in certain things and certain people that act a certain way. Okay, it is a pattern that you can see in some people.
You can.
Okay, so how you look at it is a difference too, because you might be like, what caused this to happen? What did I do? And sometimes you did something, sometimes you did, sometimes it's just that type of person. So it's just how you look at it, back to perspective. You get what I'm saying? The power of perspective. Okay, so point 3, what would change if you shifted your perspective?
Well, to you it'd be like a whole nother world.
Yeah.
If you shift it, and sometimes you have to shift, depending on. And I think we all, like what you're saying, when you're coming in knowing God, you shifted your perspective. You start living better.
Correct.
Right. Because you know right from wrong.
100%. I mean, I knew right from wrong then, but I just
felt
like, I just felt like, I felt like.
You're right.
I felt like I'm worrying about feelings and how I think about it.
Yes.
But now, when I'm living, I'm like, man, God wouldn't like that. Okay, I'm thinking about me
Right.
before him. Now I'm thinking about God, how he looking at it, the creator. You know, is he gonna be okay with this? Should I do this? Should I keep doing this? Should I stop doing that? Is this what I'm doing bringing me away from him, or is it bringing me closer? So the perspective, you know, if it changed, I wouldn't even be right here talking to you right now. A podcast I'll be doing, I would have said 25,000 cuss words already. We probably would have had some rap music as the intro. I'm jumping with a cup of hen and a bottle sitting right there as the background, just to show we feeling ourselves.
Hey, let me show y'all how to do this.
Come on now. So good thing the perspective did shift and it went towards God. Because this right here going on right now could be in a whole different setting.
You're right. Now you hit that one. You hit that one dead in the head. Hey. You brought that one in.
Okay. So if you looked at your current situation through faith, purpose, or gratitude, how would your response be different? One more time.
Yeah.
If you look
you read it again.
at your current situation through faith, purpose, gratitude, how would your response be different? This is a question for y'all too. I need y'all to sit back, look in the mirror, and reflect on yourself, on your life. Ooh. Okay? Talk to me.
You know what? Very good question. One of the things that I see in myself, you know, it's almost going back to what you said. After you realize that you was living for God, and then you start living different. So now I put it all in perspective. Then, I started living my life in a right way. And let me show you now that this is something you have to understand. It come a time even when you call yourself right. There was a time I called myself living for God, but I wasn't living for God. I'm still living for myself.
Yeah, just talking.
Just talking.
Just talking. Yeah, there's a lot of people out here.
Yeah,
you know, people out here doing it. A lot of people watching this video right now doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. Not really saying, you know what? I'm gonna live by what the word says.
Come on now.
I'm gonna live with the word. Because again, I say this sometimes, I say we can walk out of church, we step into the world, and somebody can walk up to you, and then you have to think about, hey, they could throw something at you, there you go, rattling off at the mouth. You know, and do you know, I heard you say this. You said, man, I can notice people cursing now.
He'd be like, golly.
Right.
It's like an alarm going out. You know, you get up in the morning, your alarm going out. You like, it wake you up like, all right, it's time to get up. That's how I hear when people cussing. Every cussing word is like, I gotta press the stop button. You know what I'm saying? I gotta press the stop button. Like, golly, you gonna make that alarm keep going out?
Right. And they don't have control of it.
Woo!
You know?
But you know what? They go back into it. When they say, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So you could try to say you living right. You could try to say that you live for Jesus. You could try to say you got faith. You could try to say you love God. But everything you do gonna flow from your heart. So what is you doing in your life right now that's not of God? So if you're doing anything that's not of God on purpose, because some things we do that we don't know, on purpose, guess what? All the things that you say you are is not true. Not true. Okay? So if you look at your current situation through faith, faith is believing in the word that was created before us. Ask yourself, what would Jesus do before you do things? If you're not looking at it from that perspective, you don't got no faith. Okay? Purpose. If we look at it from our perspective, we ain't gonna always understand what God's purpose is for us because we looking at I. Okay? The power of perspective is trying to see your life through Jesus' eyes, through God's eyes. Okay? Gratitude. You know how many times this almost happened, this could have happened, this should have happened, but it didn't? God's showing us gratitude. We got to be grateful for the things that could happen in our life to make things go wrong, but it still went right. Right now, we got breath in our body. We done did things that in the Old Testament he would have took us out for.
But you ain't lying.
We should have gratitude to understand that we gotta be grateful and thankful for what we doing and the chances that we getting every day, every second, not just every day. I hear people say every day, man, every second, every minute. What you mean every day? You know what I'm saying? Well, we could be in here right now, and then in 10 minutes something happen, in 2 minutes something happen. So you gotta do every second. That need to be the only thing on your mind, because the rest of your body will flow. When you put it in your mind, it's gonna get in your heart. When it get in your heart, it will show. Everything flows from it. Come on now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we gonna talk about next week what really matters at the end of life. What really matters to you at the end of life? What really matters in general at the end of life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the Time Is Now podcast. We got Willie Clifton, Richard Moore Jones.
Yes.
God get the glory.
Hallelujah.